I feel that there are instances where okay, how do I say this? When you are raising a young child, especially a 3-year-old, there will be many instances where you need to correct behavior. And one way to go about that is giving them another opportunity to try again. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is TBRI if this is your first time tuning in. And in today's video, I just wanted to share with you all some parenting rules that we try to implement day to day with our 3-year-old. So initially I was just going to try and do 5, but as I started making the list, I started adding more. So right now it's like 7 or 8. I want to also explain to you the reasoning behind some of these rules and why I stand by them and think they're so important. And if you agree with me, let me know, or disagree, let me know as well, because I'm interested in having dialogue and learning. I'm literally learning. I've only been a mom for 3 years. So these are things that have been important to me because of my upbringing and as well as in my field of work. I am a psych nurse. Working in the psych field, you learn the importance of therapeutic communication. We do special training because I work with kids on how to engage kids in a effective manner and give them options and choices and things like that. So one of the trainings that we do is TBRI. If you've never heard of that, I will link some of the information to that below, but I think it's has very good resources and just offerings to help everyone. A lot of schools use it, our hospital utilizes it, and it is beneficial for parents as well. So TBRI stands for Trust-Based Relationship Intervention. Number 1 on my list, and these are not in any particular order of like most important or like least important, or by like I feel super strongly about this one because it's the first one. It's just the first one I wrote. So something we try to do is with our toddler is explaining the reason why we say no or to stop doing something. So I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I grew up during the very much so that if you asked why or questioned what your parents were asking to do, the response was like automatically because I said so. And I find myself tempted to say that as well, and I have said it a couple times. But I have to remember that my toddler is a child and she's developing and she's curious, and so it's not necessarily straight defiance when she's asking why. She is genuinely curious as to why she cannot do this thing. So explaining to her, hey, Hosanna, you can't scream in the car while I'm driving because it makes me think that something is wrong when you're just playing. And I need to focus on the road to keep us safe and so we can get to where we need to go. Another example would be like when we started venturing places and going in and out of stores, I tell her to freeze and she'll stop. And that's because she would start walking ahead of me, which is fine to an extent as long as I can keep my eyes on her. But if we're about to cross the street, she needs to be with me holding my hand. So I tell her to freeze. And, you know, at first she'd be like, why? And I'm like, I explained to her, you see these cars around? You're small. They can't see you. And I don't want you to get hit by a car. So explaining in those situations why I've said no, stop, or listen to me, and she asks why, then I can give her that explanation and she learns from it. So now anytime we're in a parking lot, she says, oh, cars, and she stays right near me. She'll hold my hand. She's like, they can't see me. Correct, they cannot. The one thing that toddlers and kids and adults honestly say a lot is the question, why? We discourage asking why in this family. Any saying why as a question just by itself, asking a question with why in front of it, well, why can't I, or why did you do that, things like that, we discourage it, because why is, let me restart that. If at any time you're explaining something or expressing something and someone goes, oh, why? You just automatically get like this, almost like, because it feels accusatory, it feels like you need to put up this defense for it. And so we discourage asking why. And I give Hosanna another option. I say, we don't ask why, you can ask how come, or I can't think of any other ones, but the main one we say is you can ask how come, not why. And we try to eliminate using why as well. So if she is upset, I don't say, well, why are you mad? I say, well, what is making you upset? How come you're feeling angry right now? Can you tell me what's going on? And this is something that I learned in nursing school. It was like literally number one when you learn therapeutic communication of things not to do is don't ask why. You don't ask your patients why. You reframe and rephrase the question to elicit a more truthful and less defensive response. It's like the number one rule. Don't ask why. So do I ask why sometimes? Do I get annoyed and say, why are you doing that? Like, what made you think that was okay? Why? All the time. But I try to catch myself. And when I implement and remain consistent in correcting Hosanna as well, she will remind me as well, Mommy, we don't say why. And I'm like, you are absolutely correct. Thank you for reminding me. So how come you are upset? Does that make sense? Sorry, I gotta look at my phone for notes. So third one on my list is giving a chance for a redo. And this is something that I learned in TBRI training, which I'll link all the information to that training and website below. But you need to, I feel that there are instances where okay, how do I say this? When you are raising a young child, especially a 3-year-old, there will be many instances where you need to correct behavior. And one way to go about that is giving them another opportunity to try again. So for instance, when I have used this is if Hosanna responds in a disrespectful tone, I let her know, hey, that wasn't very, that was not a respectful tone. That was not very kind or polite. Would you like to try that again? She understands, and she'll take a minute, and then she'll ask again in a more respectful tone. So giving an opportunity to correct the behavior themselves, but also telling them exactly what it was that they did wrong or what behavior you're wanting to change. So giving that opportunity for a redo, because I also think it's really important to instill that there is a possibility for second chances, showing grace and giving my daughter the opportunity to right the wrong and do it better the second time. So I tell her what she did wrong, and then I give her the opportunity to try again. Number 4. Okay, my battery died. Whew, what number was I on? We were at number 4. Some things are not optional. I need to be clear on when she does have an option, and there's a choice there and when there is not a choice. I'm going to give you choices when it's appropriate, and when it's not appropriate, you need to know it's not an option. So what I'm asking of you and what I'm asking you to do needs to get done. So instilling a sense of responsibility, asking her to clean up her toys that she got out. She may say something like, "No, you do it." And I go, "No, mommy did not pull the toys out. This is not an option. You need to clean them up. If you would like some help, you can ask for help, but you need to start cleaning." Or what's another example? Our scheduled things that we need to do. So she needs to brush her teeth in the morning. There are things I ask and require of her. "Hey, can you go get your toothbrush and brush your teeth and wash your face in the morning?" And she may say, "I don't like it. I don't want to." My response is, it's not an option. This is something that we have to do every day. Mommy is about to brush her teeth and wash her face as well. I need you to do the same. I also think it helps to point out that this is something that everybody does. Mommy does it, daddy does it. We all need to brush our teeth and wash our face in the morning. Let me just go ahead and jump right into the fifth one, giving choices when you can. There are things that I don't expect her to want to do. So if I'm asking her, "Hey, can you go get me the diapers?" Or, "Would you like to help mommy? Can you go grab me wipes for baby sister?" And if she says no, she can say no. It's not her responsibility to help me take care of my youngest. I'm mama. But if she would like to help, then I appreciate it, and I let her know when she does say yes and wants to go get it, that I really appreciate her helping me and that she's helping me, but it's not like required of her to do that, and that was very kind of her to help me to care for baby sister. Another thing with giving choices when you can, it could be like the little things, like the smallest thing. "Hey, Hosanna, do you want a pink or a purple juice?" I'm gonna let her choose because it is not the end of the world. "Hosanna, do you want your smoothie in the black pouch or the green pouch?" She gets to choose. It gives her a sense of empowerment and feeling like she's in control of something. And I don't lose sleep over it. It's not going to steer the course of my day. I'm talking in circles a little bit, so just bear with me, because the giving options and there's no option, it like intertwines and weaves in and out, but I hope that makes sense when I give a choice. Now, there's also the flip side of that, where it may not be an as small instance, and the option is more disciplinary. So if I ask Hosanna to go to her room because she needs to take a break because the behavior is not where it should be, we will take 5-minute breaks in the room. And she may throw a fit, throw herself on the ground, say she doesn't want to. That is an instance where I say, well, it's not an option. You need to go to your room. And then here's where I give her a choice, a sense of power back. I would say, now you can either walk to your room yourself, like a big girl, or mommy can carry you to your room. Which one would you like? I wait, I give her an opportunity. I may rephrase the question if she hasn't answered. And then if she does not decide, then that is when I decide for her. And I will say, okay, you're not telling me which one you would like, so mommy is going to carry you to the room. And she may say in that instance, I can walk, or I can do it. Or she has asked me sometimes, you carry me to the room, because she likes being close. She doesn't like being isolated. And she likes being held. So that if that's what she decides, I will pick her up and I will carry her to her room. And then there's just things that are open range options. So before bed, we read books and sing songs, and I will let her pick out 4 or 5 books to read. She gets to pick them and she stacks them in a pile. That's completely her choice of what she would like us to read. And then after we read, we sing songs, and she gets to pick what songs she would like me to sing, as long as I know the words, because sometimes she's throwing out songs that I don't know the words, and sometimes she's requesting songs in other languages that I don't know all the words to. So we have to pivot sometimes from that, but she gets to pick what books and what songs we read. Number 6 would be that as her parent and caregiver, when I am disciplining or just educating her, really, I try to explain what I am feeling, and I try to name my emotions. I try to help her name her emotions, because it is so easy to get frustrated and irritated when you are constantly asking something or asking your toddler to do something and they are not listening or following directions. And so she has even named my emotions. Sometimes she'll be like, well, mommy, why are you so upset? Or why are you angry? And I explain to her, well, if in the instance, if I can better name the emotion, I will say, well, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed because I keep asking you to pick up your toys and you're not listening. And that's making me sad that you're not listening. Or if she's frustrated with something or afraid or sad, I say, well, are you feeling sad? And she'll say either yes or no, or I'm frustrated. And I'm like, well, what's making you frustrated? And it could be the simplest thing that I accidentally knocked over her blocks, or she was building her tower and it keeps falling over. And she goes, I keep building and it keeps falling. And then I can tend to that, because sometimes I have no idea what is making her upset or what is going on. And sometimes she's not able to express that. And so I encourage her to use words and name her emotions, but I also try to model that, because kids learn by watching and by seeing what others do around them. I mean, they will even see another kid do something and try it just to see if it's okay. So if we're modeling the behavior that we would like to see, then they are sure to pick up on that and try it, and you want to encourage and foster that. And so Hosanna has gotten very good at naming her emotions, and we're still working through naming the right ones and expressing that, but I want her to be very emotionally intelligent and intuitive and feel comfortable expressing how she feels: happy, sad, frustrated, and because I try to do the same as well for her, because I don't ever want her wondering if I'm angry with her or upset with her or happy with her. I tell her, oh, I'm so proud of you. You did such a good job. I'm happy. Are you feeling happy? Or, yeah, I hope that makes sense. So I express what I'm feeling, and I encourage her to express what she's feeling. Yeah. So that was number 6. And then I have 2 kind of like bonus ones, but I feel like these are more tips than rules. One of them is choose your battles wisely. Or in other words, is this a hill you are needing to die on? Like, you need to be firm in this, or is it okay to let it go? And I think the way to decide between whether this battle is one that you need to fight out is thinking how this will impact your child if you let it go this one time. Can you show grace in this situation this one time? And do you need to explain that to them? Hey, this is a one-off time. I'm going to let you go ahead and do that, but it's not happening again. Or is this something that you're reacting to and feel like you need to stop, but then when you think, do I really need to die on this hill and argue with my toddler about this? No. So instance would be, My daughter sometimes pours her cereal on the ground, dry cereal, because we don't really do milk in our cereal, but that's a whole nother story. We'll pour her dry cereal on the floor in our home. And if the floor is clean, she wants to eat it like a dog. And sometimes I let her. Sometimes I let her eat her cereal off the floor like a dog. And then, because, I'm like, is this a battle I want to fight right now? Sometimes you are exhausted, okay? Sometimes it's just not worth it. But then there may be like she doesn't like something, she eats something, doesn't like it, and is throwing it on the floor. Or takes a sip of water, spits it out. That's not something we're gonna allow to keep happening. I'm like, look, you are purposely making a mess. This is not fun play. We're not going to do that. We don't throw things on the floor, and you need to stop like playing with your water while we're eating at the table, because that's just nasty. So, just gauging the situation and thinking how it's going to affect her. Is she going to go other places and pour her food on the ground and eat it like a dog? No. She saw her cereal in a bowl, and we have friends that have dogs and they eat out of a bowl, and she wanted to put her cereal on the ground and eat like a dog. So that's what she did. Now, throwing food on the floor from the table, that is a behavior that we need to nip in the bud, because that's not proper table etiquette, and I don't want her thinking that's okay at any time. So if we're out to eat, you don't throw your food on the floor. If we're at a friend's house, you don't throw your food on the floor. If you don't like it, set it to the side. That's what you can do. Don't touch it, and we'll circle back to it later. So my last tip is, my last tip for this whole thing is, when it comes to disciplining, I try to take a deep breath and count to 10 to ensure that I myself am calm and that I'm not reacting straight out of anger. I'm an emotional being. As humans, we are emotional beings. And I don't ever want to say anything or act out of my frustration or my emotions. So I try to calm myself so that I can react appropriately. Because again, I want to model appropriate emotional intelligence, and I want to model what I would like for her to do. So when she gets upset, I encourage her to take deep breaths. So I will take a deep breath and say, Hosanna, I've asked you this too many times. I really need you to listen. Or sometimes I walk away. It is okay to walk away and take a minute when you are upset or frustrated. And I think that her seeing that and seeing that I am trying to be very intentional and not just yell or scream, not to say it doesn't happen, I'm a human being, shows that that is a better way to handle the situation. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that well, but just don't react right away. And I think that just goes across the board with like any situation. If it's something that elicits like a immediate reaction or emotion, you should not always act on that emotion. Take a minute, breathe, evaluate, think before you speak and before you act. There was one more thing I was going to add to that. You know what? I guess it was not meant to be. I don't remember what I was going to say. That is mom brain, postpartum brain, and really just my brain. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Man, I really can't remember what I was going to say. Anyways, that is it for today's video. If you have any parenting tips or rules or things that you implement in your house, please share them below. I am interested to hear. If there's any that you agreed with, disagreed with, comment down below, let me know. I hope you liked this video, if you did. And go ahead and subscribe so you don't ever miss a video. I try to post every Wednesday, but life is crazy. And I'm a mom of 2. So the videos will be up. You can also follow me over on Instagram, and I will see you in the next one.